Hey there, I'm Nev, I'm a dev, and today I want to talk about a project that I've been building lately that is actually very interesting for myself as well, because it's also very, I would call it crucial to my workflow, but it's not like crucial, but it's just like important for my workflow because I use it quite often. And yeah, I think I'll just let the app speak for itself. So we're gonna hit pdev right now. So what you see here is an app called UCan, because YouTube KanBan, I don't know, like this will most certainly be renamed soon. If you have an idea, go ahead and write down in the comment section. I will be very curious what you will come up with. Yeah, so why did I build this app? So previously I used Notion for managing my YouTube projects. But first of all, I was not really happy with Notion because, like why do I have to scroll vertically? And it has like features that I really don't need. It is a bit over-engineered to add like tags. So Notion is a very cool thing, but I wanted to kind of build my own thing. And this is also the second reason. I wanted to see if I can build the same thing. And yeah, I'll let you be the judge if I like achieve this. But yeah, the gist of it is that I can move around my projects here and there. So very nice to have like these moving around. Yeah, you can also add notes, random note, and it's a rich text editor, parade, some AI stuff. Maybe then also go ahead and do, I don't know, but like, look, you can do rich text, so title, you can basically do markdown. I'm not sure if like links work. But yeah, it's powered by Tiptap, but we will cover that just in a second. So thing that is like powering like the most important thing of this application is that the Svelte DND. So if you go to this UX, sveltednd.sux.com, this is the library that is powering like my app. You know, you have these drag and drop like functions, or not functions, but like drag and drop primitives. And what I'm basically doing here is, let's go ahead and collapse, or not let's collapse, but like we have, for example, this directive here, use droppable, and it will give this container an ID. Callback is basically when we drop something into this container, we will do this function that is defined up here. Namely, we will go ahead and select the dragged item in the target container from the state. And first of all, we're going to optimistically update the local state, and then we're going to fetch the drop endpoint from our API route. Then we're like all set, I guess. And we also need a use draggable directive inside of our, draggable things. And these I will do in my component. Where do we have it? Here, project card, in my component. And here we have the use draggable. First of all, we have some kind of state like disabled. I want to have this disabled if I double click it to edit it. Because I don't want to as you can see, now it's not movable when I edit it. But yeah, and the container is of course also status, like we defined somewhere up, somewhere on this side here, I think, like, status is here, status items project. What we also have is the drag data that we're actually like kind of pulling with, because if we have this drag thingy here, we also want some data to be like moved with this object or with this element that we're pulling or dragging. And in this case, it's just a project that we're having like dragging. And we also have interactives, meaning this and this, they will be interactive, of course, as the prop says, because I want to be able to like click on these and not trigger the dragging of the thing. So this is what interactive means. You can add these things in there, but like also, for example, like you could also do hashtag drag disabled, for example, and that will just do an element with the ID of drag disabled. So, and of course the same applies also for classes. So the thing that is also, one thing that is also powering this is one thing that I've already mentioned, and it is Tiptap. So it is an editor suite. We have some packages in here where we can go ahead and do editor and then installing, and then we're gonna select Svelte. And what I have here is we just install these packages, and second of all, we're just making this element, kind of this editor instance, and then we're binding this to this element. Of course, if you watched my motion Svelte video, you will know that I actually use something different in my editor thing, because I used the use directive and then I have this action declared here. If you want to know how I built this, you can go ahead and watch the video that I will link somewhere up there. So what do we have else? I guess we also have Drizzle going on in the background. And Drizzle, yeah, of course, it's powering the database layer. And we're connecting with Neon, of course, like always, or like almost always. Yeah, and I'm actually using the new Drizzle thing because they have released their RQB v2. So if we go to RQB v2, they have the new Drizzle type thing, the relational queries version. And this just makes very nice changes to their query API and also to their relational API. And I'm gonna make a separate video on this in a just in a bit, I guess. Where do you have RQB v2? Yeah, that's one. So I wanna go ahead and make this with Zenith application example. And I think this works well. If we just do this, I'm gonna do this. So stay tuned for this video. Like, quick TLDR, how this works basically is now we have a little bit of a different syntax. We still define like all of our schema like the same as before, but now we have one relations object instead of like a relation object for every table. So we have basically one big one, and I could also like declare relations for the node table and stuff. And it's very like nice new API because we can have much nicer like from to instead of field and references and stuff. So maybe it's a bit nitpicky from my side, but like also the Drizzle team chose this. And I think it's actually a good thing because, you know, the query API is kind of designed to be, let's say, un-SQL-like. So I really see how these decisions make sense. And I'm a huge fan of this status quo. They also changed the query syntax a bit. Now we have like kind of a bit of a cleaner syntax with these. No longer do we need to like import this. I still have to import this because I'm using it down here. But for example, we could also do, I don't know, status, and then, wow, we get type safety. Dude, this is so cool because this is an enum. So we have like scrap, for example. Yeah, and also of course the width thing still is the same as before, like width, and then note true, for example, if you want to display the notes. Yeah, this is basically the new Drizzle thing. So I want to add some more things to this because, as you can see right now, we just have like one, I would call it space per account, and I want to definitely like switch over to having like multiple pages for like each user. And I also want to go ahead, wait, I wrote this down in my to-do app things. I also want to do, I also want to incorporate that you can like rename these because right now they are kind of hard coded. But if I go ahead and like rename these, this would be really cool. I already have an idea how I would go ahead and do this. Yeah, really hyped for that. Yeah, I also played around with something different. You can see here we have a branch called tsquery. Let's go ahead and install some things. Now we should have the app looking a bit different because this is actually using TanStack query. If you don't already know TanStack, okay, you probably know TanStack, but if you didn't already know, TanStack query is actually also available for Svelte, which is very cool. We have some, Svelte specific syntax with a $sign for stores and stuff. So you can also theoretically use this with Svelte. Like, it's, I wouldn't call it experimental, but I haven't really played around much with it, and it's like not finished at all. Like, I only implemented like moving around things, but like if I, for example, settings, and if I rename this, nothing will happen unless I refresh the page, and now it will actually update. And the same goes with deleting a thing. So if I delete this and I will refresh, you can see now it's gone, but it wasn't gone before. So this is definitely a thing that I would also want to change. And yeah, you need to create like all these mutations, and I'm not really sure if I really, like this. Like, it maybe does not make sense for the app or the type of app I'm currently building. And I'm not even sure if it really makes sense for like, Svelte kit itself. But I'm gonna have to find out myself. Because at the end of the day, like TanStack query was like more designed probably for if you were working with a separate backend, and then I would probably put something else in here. So I would probably go ahead and like put in this query, I would put like fetch and then my API endpoint or my TRPC thing, but not like just returning the data.projects. I mean, this is kind of unnecessary, and it like kind of is similar to the syntax that we had before. So yeah, definitely some enhancements to be made in this app. This was like a little breakdown. I hope you liked it. If so, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and give this video a like, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.